Falls Area Community Television, and I'm taking over Mike's spot.
You're taking Mike's spot because he's Mike is stuck in Istanbul right now.
That's right.
That's the last we heard. That's where he is.
You know, what's that action adventure film, where they're stuck, in the Middle East? It's called Istar or something like that, or like Romancing the Stone. I mean,
I think he's trying to recreate it.
Yes,
yeah.
I think that's what's happening,
Yeah. He's having way too much fun on his vacation, so I don't know. Maybe we'll have to be the permanent host.
He just says he's stuck in Istanbul.
Yeah, exactly. He just wanted to extend his vacation.
Yeah.
So we do have election results for you, local election results, and actually some state election results. So the governor, no surprise, Phil Scott. For U.S. Senate, Peter Welch. For U.S. House, Becca Ballin. And then locally in Wyndham 3, the assistant judge went to Carolyn Partridge and Lamont Barnett. The Senate seats for the Vermont Senate went to Wendy Harrison and Nader Hashim. And the Vermont House will be Leslie Goldman and Michelle Boslin. So huge congratulations to everybody that won. And a thank you and congratulations to everyone that ran, because, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and we were glad that we had most of those candidates here so people could hear them out. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's part of what FACT does.
I know, exactly. It's part of what we do.
Kind of why we're here. Let me get a quick run through of local events. At the Bells Falls Opera House this week is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And that's actually running. I think it's a 3-week run. It's running until the 29th. So you'll have plenty of opportunities to see it, maybe see it a couple times. And I think I saw something on Facebook. They have a collector's edition popcorn bin or something.
Oh, do they? Oh,
yeah,
that's
something
cool.
like that. So if you're a fan of these movies, get there early so you can get the collector's edition for your popcorn. Classic movie Wednesday night is The Mask of Zorro. That's the one with Anthony Hopkins and Antonio Banderas. So that should be fun. And that is sponsored by J.P. Hodgkins. Comedy Divas coming tomorrow night to the Opera House. The show starts at 7. There are still tickets available, and there's actually some good seats with tickets available. So you can go online certainly ahead of time and buy them, and it's much easier to get in. Or if you're a last-minute person, you can definitely get tickets at the door. If you're interested in musical theater, A Little Night Music is starting this weekend down at Next Stage Arts in Putney. That's a Wild Goose Players production, so it's going to be a really good production. We actually had David in, about a month ago?
Yes, a month ago, yeah.
Yeah, he talked about the plot behind A Little Night Music. If you want to get tickets, you can go to wildgooseplayers.com, and the actual play will be in the Next Stage Theater, which is just in downtown Putney. Super easy to find. Nice little theater. They just redid it a couple years ago. And then in coming December 1st, Bells Falls Opera House, Holly Jolly Bellows Follies, a community holiday celebration with a live and silent auction. It's a benefit. It's a dual benefit. It's a benefit for both Wild Goose Players to help them with funding for productions and with the Rotary Club. So we have some great live auction items. One of them is a David Stern painting. We have flowers for a year from Hallidays. We have a tiny house staycation being donated. And I'm spacing on the last thing. I wasn't prepared to talk about these today, so I didn't write them down, but I'll give you some more information next week. And we're starting to gather some great silent auction items as well. So Alex, thank you so much for stepping in today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people didn't have to just listen to me blather on.
Yeah, no, they can listen to both of us blather on. 2 for 1.
We're
Here
good
we go.
at it,
Yes,
too.
absolutely.
So tell us about what's happening at here at FACT TV.
Yeah, so we have some major news here at FACT TV. Over the past 6 or 7 months, we have been working with the city of Keene to come up with an agreement to be able to provide public access service to the residents of Keene. And over the last 2 months, we've signed the contract and came to the agreement. So Falls Area Community Television is expanding into Keene. And so what that means is basically residents here that utilize are producers that come into the station and produce their own programming. They're going to have a wider audience now, so their content not only will be broadcast here in our current service area, but also to residents in Keene. And and then folks here who watch our content or go on to our website, when we open up the Keene station, because we'll be operating another public access station in Keene, so folks in Keene can have the same sort of setup that the residents here have. The people that any content that's produced in Keene, residents here in our area will see that also. So we're just expanding our range. So for folks who watch the feed or know Falls Area Community Television, I mean, right now we service Westminster, Athens, Grafton, Rockingham, Bellows Falls, and Brookline. And with this new deal with Keene, we'll now be serving Keene.
So what's the background of, so they had a station, and then what happened?
So originally they had a public access station. It was Cheshire TV, and during the pandemic, things happened, and then the organization couldn't operate anymore. So, Keene had put out, I think, a press release in February because they had some residents that were still interested in having public access in Keene. So the city put out something in February, and I think Josh highlighted that to me, and I figured, might as well give it a go. But this was back in April, so I emailed Keene and said, hey, we're a public access TV station. We should talk and see if we can help out and provide that service that you guys are looking for. So, and that's how it came about.
Nice. So it's kind of a win-win. So producers on both sides, both producers here locally and then producers in Keene, get a little bit more range of audience than they would normally.
Yep.
Keene gets kind of the expertise of your team and really knowing you. I mean, you I think did an amazing job during the pandemic to keep everything going here, in fact, and to provide the services that you provided to get information out to people. So I'm not surprised that Keene took you up on your offer to help them get their station back off the ground. And things in New Hampshire are a little bit different. The funding is a little bit different, right? Yeah,
the funding is different in New Hampshire. It's a different operation. Here in Vermont, cable operators are required by federal and state law to provide public access, and normally that's about 5% of the cable revenue. So any cable subscriber here in our area, 5% of your cable bill goes to support public access community television.
And they would see that, actually. Isn't it listed as PEG access on the bill?
PEG funds. And the reason why they have that is they wanted to make sure that the audience that the public had an outlet of free speech to be able to communicate. And there's no other, especially you have your major television stations, your major networks, your major online platforms. So public access is extremely important. I mean, the state of Vermont recognizes that, but there's no sort of monetary incentive whatsoever for these major platforms to cover local, super local events, to cover,
football games and basketball games and local plays.
Or local plays or anything. There's no incentive for that. So what happens is there isn't a platform that's covering those if we didn't have public access. So with public access, you're providing money to be able to cover these local events that normally just wouldn't get covered. And then in the government meetings. So, but in Vermont, that money goes directly to an authorized management organization like Fact TV, or if there isn't one in that area, then it goes into a trust until one comes in. In New Hampshire, it's different. New Hampshire, that federal mandate, if you use the public right-of-way, which is basically utility lines, that 5%, that revenue goes to the municipality, and the municipality can decide whether or not they want to provide public access or if they want to put the money elsewhere. So that's the difference. And Keene felt like it was still important to be able to provide public access for the residents.
And they had a fully equipped studio?
They had, so Keene had a studio. They have the new studios at the Keene Library. and they owned all the equipment. So basically, we're coming in as an operator, as sort of a subcontractor to manage their public access channel and to manage the equipment and to provide the public access services. So
Nice.
it works out in our favor.
So just so people understand, it doesn't mean that anything different is going to be happening here, really, with management or with access to Fact TV here. It just means that you're going to oversee another operation.
Yep.
And then, again, the big plus is that the producers on both sides of the river get a little bit more coverage.
They get more coverage, and there's
And you have more variety of content then, too, potentially more variety of content
yeah.
on both sides.
more variety of content, and both stations are available to all the residents. So if you're somebody that lives in Bellows Falls and you're in Keene, and or you do a lot of business in Keene or whatever, I mean, the point is you have access to both studios if you want to utilize those.
Nice.
And if so it's a benefit. It's a benefit for both sides for sure.
No, I know it was, and just so everyone knows, the board did their due diligence, and we made sure that the contract was a sound contract and beneficial to both. And now, do you have producers over there yet? I mean, have you not quite gotten to that level yet?
Well, yeah. So we haven't really gotten to that level. We're in the beginning phases right now. So for 3 months, we're going to be training folks to be able to operate the station. We're getting stuff together. We're moving cables around, moving chairs, moving furnitures, looking at the set, seeing what we need to do to redesign it. So this is the setup phase, and that will be the first 3 months. Then we're going to have a grand opening after the first 3 months, where we'll invite folks from Keene and Bellows Falls to come in and see the new station and say,
Nice.
hey, we're open now. So the last month, what we will be doing is we'll be inviting maybe folks that have utilized, that we're working with Cheshire TV, that we're using public access to come in and to do a show, just to sort of work out the kinks, work out what the flow is going to be. So we haven't done that yet. So we're still in the beginning phases.
Okay, so if you're
setting things up,
if you're
like looking for chords that are missing or whatever.
yeah,
That's basically
they're not
what's
quite
happening.
ready to produce shows in Keene, but we'll keep you posted as to if they will be. And then you also, I know you're probably looking for them down here, but I know you're definitely looking for local camera operators.
Yeah, so we're definitely looking for local camera operators, not only to help with Keene, that will be opening up, but here we got additional funds from the state of Vermont, who basically understands that cable revenues are dropping because that's all we get, and they want to make sure that they do help out public access here in Vermont, because it's such a valuable resource, especially in our rural area, and any of the legislators or people that are in at the State House in Vermont have utilized public access during their elections, or to be able to get the message out. So they really understand how important it is to have that. So we have a little bit of money, and a lot of that money, we as an organization, we want to be able to cover more local community events. So we are definitely looking for videographers to help film meetings, cover community events that come up, a play or parade, or any type of performance that's local here and that needs to be highlighted. So
And they get paid for that.
and they get paid for that,
That's
and
important.
definitely will get paid for that. The standard rates, it's usually about $50 to $75 per event, but depending on skill or what the task is, it fluctuates from there. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for either folks that either are willing to be trained and have transportation. Must have transportation. That's key.
Yeah, because otherwise it just makes a big headache for you.
I
And it
mean,
just is kind
you'll
of
have to drive
impossible.
to any location. So if anyone's interested in video work and part-time, it's part-time work. Who want a little extra money on the side. You know what I mean? This is a perfect opportunity. And, the great thing about being a videographer and covering these community events, and if you have the time, if you have the skill or the experience, but also if you want to learn how to do that, is you get to go to places or do things that you normally necessarily wouldn't do. And you get to experience that. You get to meet more people in terms of, who's in your community and things that are going on. So it's definitely there's a little bit of an adventure aspect to it. Get to do things that you normally wouldn't cover. So
Yeah, and it's fun, and it's I think it's important to know, number one, that people are getting paid, because I think gone are the days of people volunteering.
Yeah.
And I know that you get requests all the time, like, oh, there's this happening, can you cover it? And there's this
Yeah.
happening, and can you cover it? And Alex can't work 24/7, nor can his staff.
Yeah.
So you used to have some dedicated volunteers, but that's kind of gone by the
It's
wayside. So
tough.
now, looking to hire a whole, like, and someone can come and be trained, and they don't have to commit to, like, they could be like an on-call person, right? Like if you had an event come up, as long as they're trained, so
Yeah.
it could be that loose of an agreement. But it's a great skill set to have. You can also then learn editing, which is just fun.
Yeah.
And that gives you a whole nother, like, creative outlet if you're into creative stuff.
Yeah.
And so there seems to me like a lot of benefits to it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a great benefit if you're part-time, you're looking for extra cash. And yeah, it's not a part-time gig, it's freelance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, for the younger kids out there, like door dashing. It's gig work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's basically, if you have experience, great. You call me up, I put you on the list, and I'll let you know what events need to be covered and how much we pay for it, and then whether or not you can do it, then you get to choose whether or not you can do it. I mean,
Great.
that's basically how it works. So.
I think it's important to back up just a tiny bit, going back to how y'all are funded, and the idea that I think you were saying that the state of Vermont recognized that cable funding was decreasing, and I think that people need to realize that so many people have pulled away from cable. They're going with DishNet, or they're going with streaming services, and so there's no longer that revenue stream. Cable is slowly shrinking.
Yeah.
But you were mentioning last week that the state of Vermont is looking at ways to kind of recoup that revenue, or just make sure just make sure that it doesn't happen such that the revenue gets so low that you can't operate.
Yeah, I mean, legislators understand that the cable business, cable companies are providing different services now.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just providing video services. It's their bread and butter now is internet services, and that's public access doesn't get revenue for that. And then there's other utility companies, telecoms, and just internet providers that use the utility poles. It's all based upon a utility pole. Because these cable companies and these providers would never be able to operate with any efficiency or profit if they didn't have the ability to be able to lay their lines across a utility pole. I mean, because they would have to negotiate with every property owner or municipality.
That'd be crazy.
And it would,
Can you imagine?
yeah. So, yeah, we're part of an organization called Vermont Access Network, which is an organization of public access TV stations in Vermont that get together, and we have ties to the State House, and we try to sort of advocate for public access. One of the things that they're considering, I don't think it's been proposed as a bill, but was something that's going to potentially come up and that we're going to be pushing for, is that they'll do maybe a poll tax, and it doesn't matter who the provider is, whether or not they provide internet or cable. Vermont will put a tax on that, and a portion of that money will go to public access, and then another portion of that money will go to emergency services, like 911, emergency services, and stuff like that. All that communication type stuff. So, so that's hopefully, and Vermont does recognize that. So hopefully that does get, brought up in a committee and then put forward in a bill. But that can be a little, any new tax is not something that's easy for legislators to put through. But
Right, but people just have to buy into the benefit of it.
yeah,
And I guess we all here at FACT buy into the benefit.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So you are planning a pretty big film production in the spring. You want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a huge film production. We have over 100 crew members.
Wow. Oh, were you just kidding?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, you sucked me in on that one.
I know. Yeah, no. So what we do every year at Falls Area Community Television is we do sort of one film production, and this is an opportunity for people in the community who are interested in film production and how that works to be able to join in and sort of get a little bit of experience, and as an actor or as a camera operator or as a production assistant or just whatever sort of role that we would have on that specific production, and it just it allows for that sort of training, and then so we film a short film. And then when we're done with that, we rent the Opera House and we premiere the short film. So that's like sort of the whole process of filmmaking. Create something and then show it to an audience. So this year we are doing a short film called No Exit, and it is actually written by Colin. Here, I'm sorry, did I say No Exit? See, we did No Exit was the film we did last year. And the filmmaker that we work with was Josh, and he keeps talking about No Exit all the time.
I was like,
No exit, no exit,
like,
no
really?
exit, no exit. So it's just a tick. It just comes out of my mouth. So see what you've done, Justin. No, so the the film that we are doing is called The Death of Me, and
that's what I thought.
That was written by Colin here at the station. And it takes place all in sort of the mind of the main teenage female main character. And the basic storyline, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's about, but the basic idea is this person's having an internal struggle with themselves. And the idea is it's a little bit of satire, a little bit of a comedy, and also tragedy at the same time. But the idea is, you're going to go through this film, and the journey is you're going to ask the question, like, how great do I treat myself? Like, we probably treat ourselves worse than we do.
Oh, yeah, I think for sure, than others do. We're our own worst enemies sometimes,
yes.
yeah.
And so that's kind of the idea of the film, is to sort of ask those questions.
And that's going to be in March?
So we're gonna start filming that in April.
Oh, April, sorry.
We've rented the Opera House because this has a huge stage, and we need the lighting rig to be able to light it correctly so that we can sort of create this sort of ethereal sort of mind space. It takes place in different locations, but we want it to have a look where it's sort of taking place in the person's mind, and you can go in and out of different locations and different memories and scenarios. So
nice.
It will definitely be interesting, and it'll definitely be a fun shoot. So we're going to do that in April.
It's a fun project. If you are even remotely curious, like how films are really made, like it's so, I haven't done films with you per se, but I've done filming with you. And it gives you a whole different appreciation for when you actually go to see a film. You look at things like oh, that's a good camera angle, or I wonder how they created that, or it's just fascinating, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you get to see all aspects of it, and you don't have to be an actor. You can be behind the scenes, and that's where the magic happens, really, truly, and especially when you get to the editing part of it. But I would encourage people to, and so we have about a minute left. So why don't you, let people know how to contact you about all of that stuff.
So if you're interested in becoming a videographer, or you have experience and you're looking for some additional work, you can contact Fact TV. If you want to do a show, if you want to learn video editing, if you want to utilize any of the resources here, please contact Fact TV and we can get you started. So the door's always open for folks in the community to come in here and be able to express their views and opinions. So you can call us at 802-463-1613 if you want to pop up the info on there, Josh. If he's got it. There we go. So yes, you can go to our website, which is fact8.com. You can contact me, Alex, at fact8.com, or call 802-463-1613. Again, we're open from 10 to 7, Monday through Friday. If you're interested in doing a show, email, give us a call. If you want to be a videographer, same thing. And if you're interested in this, being a part of the crew for this film production, again, you can call us and or email me. So
awesome.
There you go.
Yep, we are down to 20 seconds. So thanks so much for filling in today and for letting us know. And I think I would encourage anyone to come and even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, just stop in.
Yeah, stop in. Doors open. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, community.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music.